Welcome to Inspire Campfire, a podcast where ordinary people tell their stories of extraordinary adventure. These are campfire stories meant to inspire the rest of us to light the fire within, get outside, follow our dreams, and return to tell our own stories. Ready? Let's strike the match.
Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Scott Wurtzbacher. And in the hero's journey of life, we often find ourselves kicked out of normal. Sometimes it's by choice. We say yes to an adventure that challenges us and pulls us out of our comfort zone. Other times, life makes that decision for us. Today's guest, Kijuan Amey from Durham, North Carolina, has experienced both of these. With an adventurous spirit and a passion for pushing his limits, Kijuan set big goals for himself. He served courageously in the United States Air Force as an in-flight fueling specialist. But everything changed in an instant when a motorcycle accident left him without his eyesight. Kijuan's story is one of resilience, purpose, and deep transformation. He's made it his mission to empower the hearts and minds of those who feel like they've lost a part of themselves. And this is a conversation that you won't want to miss. Kijuan, welcome to the campfire.
Thank you so much for having me, Scott. I really appreciate it.
I am so excited to dive into this story with you. You are such an inspirational human. I'm just delighted to be able to talk with you. I'm going to just dive in here with your book. So you wrote a book called Don't Focus on Why Me. And you and I had a chance to talk a little bit, and then I got a chance to devour that book, which is excellent. It tells your story so well. And I feel like I know you really well. And I'm just excited to let listeners in on things. So let's talk about this book, Don't Focus on Why Me. What's it about?
Well, first off, thank you so much for giving me that those kind words about the book. And that was the purpose of writing it, for people to see what it was like from my point of view, and for you to feel like you know me. I was just wanting to be as vulnerable as possible when I wrote this book, and it's completely based off of the motorcycle accident that changed my life. On that day, May 5th, 2017, this is over 8 years ago now, but I swear it still seems like yesterday. When you live with this type of traumatic change, it still feels like yesterday. And I definitely wanted to write this book because I heard everybody else's story. I heard everybody else's side. They were telling me this, that, the third. And then people were starting to say, man, you should write a book. You should write a book, get on stages. I'm like, what are y'all talking about? I don't want to be in front of anybody because I didn't feel like me anymore. And I was like, I don't want to be in front of anybody. And eventually I pulled myself out of that funk. We do get into slumps as just humans. That's just what we do because we're human and we have what we call emotions. And so my emotions were getting the best of me, but I fought out of it and I overcame. And so the thing about the book, that really key point that I like to talk about, is the simple fact that, I had that accident and it might have changed me in different ways, physically, somewhat emotionally as well, but I didn't let it define me. And that was the biggest thing that I wanted to let people know. I didn't let this thing define me. It might have reshaped some things. It might have gave me some new body parts because, I do have some titanium rods inserted and some metal plates in my head. So, there are some new parts, but I didn't let it define me. And so that was the biggest thing about that book, was telling people that.
Thank you. It's fantastic. It's compelling. Obviously, it's a page turner because you want to hear about this story. And we're going to get into the story, and we're going to talk a little bit about what happened on May 5th, 2017. The title of the book is Don't Focus on Why Me. Could you talk a little bit about naming the book?
Yeah, the name came from that one day in the hospital. It was this one day I was laid up in my hospital bed at UNC Hospital. Go Tar Heels, by the way. because I am a UNC fan. I was laid in that bed, man, and this was after I found out what happened to me. So after I woke up from my medically induced coma, because I was in a coma for a month. But after I woke up and, my mother told me what happened. And I'm like, wait, what? By the way, I could not talk, but this is what I'm feeling. My mouth was wired shut, so I could not speak. And, understanding that I now lost my eyesight, couldn't talk, couldn't smell, broke both of my legs, my back, everything you could think of, traumatic brain injury, anything you could think of, it happened, man. And so the day I found all that stuff out is where I now turn to, because I'm a believer, to my faith, and I start questioning God. Mm-hmm. Me and God are having a serious conversation. And I'm asking why me, the whole point of why me, which is what I call and should be called the victimized mentality. We go into that victimized mentality as humans all the time. It's just something that's a part of our nature, and so when we do that, though, it starts to take blame or place blame elsewhere. And it also takes your mind off the wrong things. You're not focused anymore. So when I am asking him all these questions of why me, why would you allow this to happen to me? Because as a believer, we believe that things are allowed to happen to God's people. The questions that I'm throwing at him, left, right, up, down, under the bridge, over the water, everything I'm throwing at him, he's just like, are you done yet? And I'm like, wait, what? And he's like, are you done? And I guess, I don't have any more questions. It's your turn. And so he said, this is the first response. Well, why not you?
Wow.
And I was like, what? See, this right here, this is why people don't like you. When I tell you I have real conversations with God, I do. They're real. And so I'm like, see, this right here is why people don't like you. I don't want to hear that. I do not want to hear that. And so, we're having that conversation back and forth. And he's like, but you're not the only blind person in the world. You can still do things without your eyesight. These beautiful drums behind me, I still play and have been playing for over 25 years. I still play till today, and not just at a boom, tap. No, if you ever heard me play, which I do have videos on my website, which we'll get to later, you will understand I'm not just some, oh man, it's so good to see somebody blind play. No, I'm very, very good. And the things that he allowed me to keep was what I needed. And then he said, well, after he said well, why not you? That's when I had to understand if I could still say, well, why not me? And then come out on the glorious / I'm good, I'm gonna be okay side. What am I whining about? What am I complaining about? And when I tell you, I do pretty darn good for myself, even without eyesight. Because why? It is doable. That's the one thing we have to understand is, and I had to learn this from another person, and quote, there was an elderly lady, she said, because she heard someone say the word try. Yeah, I'll try. She said, no, don't try. You need to do. She said, trying leaves room for failure. And when I heard that, I said, oh, shoot. What? I said, I can't try anymore. So I even change my words whenever I say try. Like if I'm speaking out loud, I change it. I said, no, wait. All right, let me rephrase it. I will do what I said I'm going to do, Yeah. And so the title, that's where it came from. Don't focus on that. Don't focus on the why me. Focus on the things that say I still can. Or just when somebody tells me I can't, I'm going to show them why I can.
Yeah. Man, I love your energy and your spirit. It's awesome. It's just it's delightful to just be here with you and just to listen to you speak. You said something that I kind of want to dive a little deeper on. You said the things he allowed me to keep are the things that I needed. Could you talk about that?
Yeah, I'll give you one big one, and I already pointed to it already. Those drums back there, I broke both of my legs and my spine, but yeah, I'm still able to play those drums. I had a severely traumatic brain injury, and yet I'm still able to play those drums. Nothing happened to my arms, thankfully, I thank God that they're still functioning. They didn't get cut on. That's like the only thing that didn't get cut on. Everything else had a scar. But, what I'm getting at is with the simple fact that I was still able to do that and still able to continue playing those, because I told you, man, in the book, even in the book, I write about how I had suicidal ideations and depression and all that stuff. If I would have never been able to play those drums again, I don't think I would be here talking to you, Scott, because of the simple fact that I've been in love with just the whole mantra, everything about the drums. Everything about music, first and foremost, because I'm a music head. I love music. And if I would have never been able to do that again, I really don't think I would be here, because I've been, for sure, knowing that I've been in love with them since I was 5. And I'm 33 now. So just imagine that. And I've actually been physically playing them since I was 7. So 2 years of thinking about playing them. And then the rest is history. 26 years of actually playing them. And I tell you, man, that's just one big key thing that I really, truly love about what I was allowed to keep and be able to do.
Yeah. And so, like, just an observation, even in just the short time that we talked, even right before we hit the record button, we were talking about, you're a huge sports fan. You're an adventurer, you're a sports fan. You just talked about your love of music. I mean, actually, I see you not as somebody that just loves music, but you love life.
Yeah.
You love active participation in life. And I think that what it sounds like, the drums are something that have been really healing for you. And I guess I just wonder, like, could you kind of take us through that a little bit? Like, for you, I mean, you specifically brought up drums as the thing that, like, if you couldn't do that, then we wouldn't be talking right now. Like, what is it about playing the drums that really lights you up and makes you feel alive?
Well, first off, my creative side. I'm very creative. I'm left-handed, by the way. Just a fun fact about me. There's not many of us in the world. That creative side of me is always active. And when I say I go into a whole nother world, like, of exploring when I get on those things, I do it as I'm actually playing. Like, I don't think about it and then go do it. I say, I'll actually be in the middle of a song and be like, yeah, I think that'll work. like that's what I do. And people ask me, how do you do that? I was like, I don't know. I just do it. And I'm the type that likes to take risks. I take chances. Okay. So if you hear something, if you've ever heard me play live or whatever on a video and you like, what was that? That was me taking a chance.
I love it.
That was me taking a chance, man. And so the other thing is I do actually take music therapy. That's a real thing, by the way, if people don't know. A truly, truly healing piece to me. I'm also learning how to play the piano through music therapy. I love sound. I love music. I love sound. I love it all, man. I just love it and how it comes together. I have a really good ear for music too. Like, so for example, when I do play with for example, at my church or different groups or whatever, and I hear something, I'm like, that ain't it. Like, yeah. I'm not talking about what I'm doing. I'm talking about what they're doing. I'm like, that ain't it.
Yeah.
Because I've actually had that happen in a live performance where we were playing in front of a crowd. And this is like a legit performance. Not just like, oh, yeah, we're going to have a show. Blah, blah. No, people paid to get in here. And so they started the song off in the wrong key. And I said, oh no. Oh no.
You got that ear.
Yes.
You got that ear.
I said, that's too low. That's too low.
I mean, so I've got kind of a twofold question, because I wanted to ask you about, oftentimes I've read and heard that, when somebody loses one sense, it enhances other senses. And you're talking about your ear right now, like, and I guess I wanted to also ask about this creativity that you mentioned. Like, have you felt these things on an enhanced level since the accident? Have they developed more since the accident, your creativity and your ear?
I think it's more so the neuro, like rechanneling things and placing your focal point more on these things.
Gotcha.
So for example, like even not just hearing, but like my skin. Like when I go outside, I can tell you exactly where the sun's at.
Wow.
Because I can't see anything.
Yeah.
But I can tell you exactly where the sun is. Like I was walking with this guy who he's a caregiver for me. He helps me get to the gym. We were walking outside. I hadn't felt the sun the whole time we were walking. And then as soon as we got past the corner of the building, I said, oh, there's the sun. And he's like, where? And I turned around and said, it's right behind us. And I pointed at it. He's like, the heck? I was like, oh, trust me. I felt it on my arm. Trust me. So, yeah.
That's wild. So, but you talked about that being more of what you focus on, not so much like an enhanced ability.
Right. It's not, and I guess you say loosely, but what I mean is, for example, I was just telling someone the other day, when I get up and I walk around, like I know in my house especially, I walk as if I know exactly where I'm going. And now, don't get me wrong, I still put my hands out sometimes because I don't want to make that mistake.
Yeah.
I've made that one too many times. I don't want to break another pair of shades, okay? They get expensive. So I do make sure I don't misjudge, but I also kind of gauge where I am based off of how I maneuver my body. Like even the movement of my body, I can feel certain. Oh no, I'm gonna step off. I need to slide over. Yeah. Like stuff like that. If I take like a huge step versus a small step, I'm like, that ain't. I need to readjust.
Yeah.
I need to reorient myself. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. I appreciate you sharing all that context. So I want to bring listeners in a little bit deeper based on what I already know, because I've read the book. I wonder if we can talk about Kijuan Amey before the accident, and then we can kind of go into the accident and then what happened afterwards. But could we start with pre-accident? Who was Kijuan Amey before the accident? What did life look like for you?
Kijuan Amey was an Air Force reservist. I served my time on active duty for 4 years, and then I went over to the reserve side. That was better for me for what I was trying to do. And why do I say that? Because I also had a business back then as well. I had a business called Kiwi Enterprise, and it was where I did website design and management, social media marketing, and photography. Then I was also going to school full time at DeVry University, where I was studying computer information systems.
Yeah.
With a specialization in systems analysis and integration. That's a long way around of saying, like, I do coding and I can build some software for you, or I can get these engineers to do it. And so that was like, the degree was one thing. I've always been a computer nerd. I love that stuff, and I still do today. But it was also another like tool. Yeah, I'm gonna get a degree in computer stuff, but to satisfy my nerdy need, and then I'm also gonna get a degree because I wanted to be a pilot. Mm-hmm. And so in order to become a pilot or an officer in the military, you had to have a 4-year degree. Yeah. So that's what I was finishing. I only had 1 year left before my accident, man, and to get my degree.
Well, I know you are somebody who, before the accident enjoyed the pursuit of like physicality and goal setting. And, obviously you love motorcycles, but and I'd love to talk a little bit about your time in the Air Force.
Yeah.
You were a in-flight fuel specialist. I mean, that's something that takes courage. I'd love to hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah, in-flight refueling, man. Oh God, sheesh. Hey, listen, you want to talk about roller coasters? That's cool and all. Ain't nothing like in-flight refueling. That is a whole nother ride. Okay. Now you don't get to feel the air like you do on a roller coaster, but you definitely feel the chills and the joy, and there could be some excitement, good or bad. Anything goes when you're up there in the air at 20,000+ feet, you know. And yes, I did say 20,000+ feet, and we could get as low as 15,000, depending on what the other aircraft needs. Man, I never thought that type of job existed. I mean, every time I tell somebody, they're like, "Wait, you did what?" And yes, I refuel planes in midair. It's like pulling up to a flying gas station, basically.
It is. It's like Mission Impossible.
Yeah, exactly. Except Tom Cruise is on the outside of the plane and I'm on the inside. I'm not going out there. So anyway, I've refueled everything except for the president's plane, and I'm actually happy for that. Hey, listen, I don't want to be refueling his plane. That means something bad is going down. Okay, something bad is going down. I've touched every plane except for that one, and boy, do I feel honored, because there are some stealth aircraft out there that you cannot scratch, and if you do, it costs taxpayers a lot of money. Yeah. I'm not even joking, and they can't even carry out their mission. They got to go home. So if they were on a mission, they have to now go home because they're no longer able to do their actual mission, which is be stealth, because it messes up that capability.
I feel like in-flight refueling is something we could probably spend a couple of podcast episodes on. I think that is just, it's so cool. Yeah. I mean, what an amazing opportunity. And first of all, thank you for your service too.
Yes, thank you. So
everything changes on May the 5th, 2017. Yes. You had all these things going for you, and then you have this accident. Can you tell us what happened?
So May 5th, 2017, like I told you about my business that I had before the accident, Kiwi Enterprise. I was actually doing that business that day, or working that business, shall I say, that day. I was taking pictures of this business that I needed to update a website for, and which actually happened to be my church, by the way. But it was such a nice day in May. As you know, Scott, here in North Carolina, the spring weather can be the good of times, or it can be the worst of times. You're either going to have some really nice sunshiny days, or you're going to have some rainy and thundering days. So it was one of those nice sunshiny days, and I decided to pull out my bike, which I had a Kawasaki Ninja ZX6R for those who know bikes, and rode. It was only like 10 minutes from my apartment, like where my church was. That's where I went to take the pictures. So I'm like, this is not going to satisfy my ride, because I had to go to work for the military that weekend. And remember, this is Cinco de Mayo.
It is Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, the people in the military are wanting to have a good time that night. So I'm like, I'm not riding this bike to work. I'm going to drive, And so I was like, let me just get a good ride in before I go down to the base. And I said, well, where do I go? Because I don't like just riding aimlessly. I really don't. That's not something that I do. I like to have a plan in place. I chose to go to the lake. Now, if you look at that cover on my book, Don't Focus on Why Me, that is the lake that I went to, Jordan Lake here in North Carolina.
Okay.
That's the backdrop of that dock that I was at right before the accident. Now, how do I know that? Because I took that picture. As a photographer, I took that picture, and the motorcycle on the cover is my actual bike. Mm. So I took both of those pictures, and I had a cover designer stitch them together. Wow. Which I hear they did an amazing job, by the way. After I sat there, so now let me tell you, the ride from the church to the lake is about 30 minutes in time. So that one, to me, is a good ride, to get some jitters out. And then I'll ride another 30, 35 minutes to get back to my apartment or so. Now, got there to the lake, no problem. I'm, enjoying myself. By the way, I go to this lake all the time. I used to anyway, even as a little child, because I was, again, born and raised in Durham, North Carolina. So I used to go to this lake as a child. I know this lake and I know how to get there. So it's not like, it's unfamiliar or uncharted territories. But anywho, I go on to now go home because I need to collect my belongings to go to the base for the weekend. And I don't like to go late because one time I had a moment where I had to sleep on a couch in the squadron. That was the worst night ever, but I won't get into that. Okay. So anyway, I jump on the bike and I take off down the road, Highway 751 here in North Carolina. And I'm headed towards Durham. I get past this or get to this one intersection. I'm pretty sure it had a street light there. Either way, it was an intersection. So there was some method of you having to stop at this intersection. Well, this silver Honda Accord pulls out in front of me, and I don't know why. I really don't. I have no clue, never bothered to ask. I didn't want to ask because I was afraid of the answer. I'm really, and why do I say afraid? I don't want to hear you say out of your mouth you were distracted by anything. I don't care what it is, anything. I don't care if it's a bug in your car. You're in control of that vehicle. I always tell people, I say, hey, man, I'm doing 55 miles an hour. What can I do? I'm not some stunt rider that just, oh, there's a car. Woohoo. Like, no, that's not how this works. And when things like this are presented or present themselves to you, you just go with the flow. And the flow that day was to hit him. Trust me, I did take all the motorcycle courses because I had to. Yeah. Yes, I said had to. The military doesn't play that game. They can, bow out on some things if you don't do your due diligence. Mm-hmm. And so I've taken all the courses, like how to maneuver, how to stop, how to do it. What people don't realize, two things. First off, the stopping thing. Yeah, it's not that easy with a motorcycle. And then don't forget I'm doing 55 miles an hour. The maneuvers we did in that parking lot to like avoid things, whatever it is, we're doing at parking lot speeds.
Right. Nothing
was at 55 miles an hour. So this is where the problem lied. And, I impacted the car and, like I told you guys, I got 2 metal plates in my head because my face was literally crushed in. My right eye was popped out because as y'all keep seeing me wipe my eyelid, the bottom portion of my eyelid was torn off, and there's been a lot of surgery done to it in order to somewhat to repair it, but it does not, the bottom lid does not move. So it just stays there and it allows too much air in and then it waters. Yeah. That's the reaction. It's trying to keep your eye from getting dry. Right. So anywho, that's another one. Like I told you, my jaw was wired shut because it was broken. I had a bunch of chipped and cracked teeth under my right side of my mouth. And that right there was probably the cheapest bill. After insurance paid their part, I got like a $20,000 bill. You know what I'm saying? That's the cheapest part. Yeah. They had to cut me open from ear to ear across the top because my brain was swollen. So to relieve the stress on my brain, they cut me open from ear to ear. You can see the scar, and so other than that, let's see. I had a tracheotomy. So if my voice starts to get a little raspy, that's why it just gets dry every now and then. Like I told y'all, I broke my spinal cord and it's medically infused now with 2 rods and 12 screws from L4 to T2, which is just above one lumbar lower, and I would have been paralyzed from the waist down. Just one lumbar. So if it would have been L5, done. Yeah. And then I broke both of my legs to include my femur, which is the largest bone in your body. Literally a compound fracture. If anybody can do it, let it be me. It's the largest and the hardest bone to break in your body. But of course, I'm up for challenges. So, so that's metal. My tibia, which is your shin bone on your left leg, or my left leg is metal. It's a metal rod. My fibia, I think on my right leg was fractured as well. And I also have a screw in my right foot, which actually makes it a different size than my left foot. So my left foot is still the same size that it was before the accident, which is a 10. My right foot is now an 11 wide.
Okay. Man, I feel like you're a superhero. I feel like you're Iron Man or you're an Avenger.
Just call me Titanium Man.
So you talked about, so you were going to talk about like your recollection of the accident and then what other people told you. At what point did you like come to and like how long was it when you were able to kind of open your eyes and discover what had happened?
Yeah, May 5th was the accident. I came out of my medically induced coma June the 6th.
Mm.
So literally a month and a day. And what's interesting about it is that like when I came out of the coma, I had no idea I was even in one, first and foremost. I felt like I was waking up in my bed. I felt so rested. I felt so peaceful. I was like, oh man, I slept good last night. What the heck? Wow. That was some good sleep. Until I started hearing people talk. And I'm like, but I live alone. Who's here? You know? And then I'm listening and I'm like, oh, wait, I think I recognize those voices. No, I do. That's my mom. And that's my girlfriend, which is now my ex now. What the heck are they doing here? Yeah. You know? Because again, I lived alone. Yes, I had a girlfriend, but I lived alone. The first thing that I thought before I recognized the voices was, do I need to go into a self-defense mode? Because my mind is trained in a different way now that I've been in the military.
Right.
I'm not trained to be captured.
Yeah.
I'm trained to avoid being captured, you know?
Right.
And so the first thing I thought of is, do I need to drop to the side of my bed, which is on the right? So I slept the furthest away from the door, my bedroom door, and I slept on the right side of my bed so that I roll to the right. And the reason I do that is because right beside my bed is, guess what? My baby. Not my girlfriend, but it's my baby. I was going to pull out that 45 and go nuts on you. And it wasn't going to leave you still standing, I promise. So that was what my mind was going towards. And I was like, oh, no, I know these people. I'm hearing them talk about a motorcycle accident. I have no earthly idea they're talking about me because they never listen. When somebody is telling a story and you're eavesdropping, you hope to get some good information out of them. These were the worst storytellers ever. I'm like, man, we all drop a name or something? I don't have any clues whatsoever. And so I am so clueless, not knowing that they're talking about me. And
your mouth is wired shut, so you can't talk, you can't ask questions.
Well, I didn't even try yet, because I'm still eavesdropping.
Right.
Just see if I could get some information. And I finally got fed up with that because, again, I'm not getting anything. So, they're just saying stuff like, I hope he makes it all right. I hope he gets better, this, that, and the third. And so I know it's a guy. I'm like, but who? I said, well, forget this. I'm going to figure this out. And I go to open my eyes. Oh, boy. Only to not be able to see anything. I basically see the same thing I see right now, which is nothing. When I did that and I didn't see anything, it was kind of one of those moments that just take you back. You're like, what the heck? Now you're trying to figure it out. Okay. I was going to ask y'all a question about that motorcycle accident, but now I want to know what the heck is wrong with my eyes. And so because I was looking around the room to see if it was just the area I was looking in, and no, I just couldn't see anything. Now I go to speak because I want to find out why I can't see anything. And I can't say anything, man. All you literally hear me is say, you like the heck? That's literally how I sounded.
Wow.
Of course, it wasn't as strong because I had that trait. That thing really weakened everything. I'm building that all back up now. And so when I tell you that was like so gut wrenching, man. And now I'm starting to realize, hold up. were they talking about me? And I finally got to ask that question, and that's when I found out they were talking about me. And so, man, that right there. So that when they did tell me, you know, I was in a motorcycle accident, they didn't tell me what happened. They just said I was in an accident. They didn't tell me it was another car. They didn't tell me anybody else was involved. Nothing. It was just that I was in an accident. And so I'm like, what the heck? How did I get in this accident? And I hadn't asked that question until like maybe a day or so later after I finished questioning God. And, you know, I wanted to open back up and find out what really happened, like what all happened. And that's when they told me the story that I've told you guys already, how he pulled out in front of me. I was like, oh, so it wasn't me. Scott, as safe as they come, I was one of the safest riders out there.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't play that. I valued my life, put it that way. You know, some of these guys, trust me, I know how they ride because I used to ride with them. You know, and that's the thing. I was like, oh, go ahead. I know where we going. Go on. Go. You know how you wave them off? Yeah, go on. That's what I was doing. I know where y'all going. But yeah, it was so. Whew.
It's a lot. Kijuan, I'm so grateful that you're willing to, like, the vulnerability and your willingness to share your story. I mean, it's just so impactful. And it's amazing what you've gone on to do. And I want to get into that too, because, you know, what you're now doing to inspire other people, people need help. And when somebody like you that can share their story and help inspire and encourage other people and show people what's possible, man, it's amazing. So first of all, just thank you for that.
Yeah, no thanks.
In the days and weeks that followed June 6th, when you woke up, what were those days and weeks like for you?
A struggle.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't do anything for myself.
Yeah.
Literally, so I wasn't eating because, like I told you, well, first off, my mouth was wired shut at first. And then once they unwired it, I did try to eat. But it was hard because I now have to, when your mouth has been closed like that for over a month, your jaw muscles tighten. So you have to re-stretch them back out. Like, you know, these are things people don't think about. I had no clue. So they were like, yeah, you're going to have to, you know, get your mouth to open back up. My mouth was like opening about this far. It's like, well, yeah, so, hey, guys, you might give me something to eat. Wait, what? Why am I talking like this? You know, and that's really all you're getting. So I had to use this not machine, but like a mechanism that you put in your mouth. It's got like two flat pieces. Yeah. One for the bottom and one for the top set of teeth. Yeah. And you squeeze the handle, and it like you open your mouth as wide as you can, then you squeeze the handle just a little bit by a little bit to open it a little bit further, to get those muscles to elongate.
Right.
You know, and when I tell you that was some crap, I was like, I made sure I did it. I wanted to eat my cheeseburgers again. So listen, I am a carnivore, okay? And so my thing is, when I first, you know, woke up, it was a struggle because I'm having to now learn how to rely on others. I was not used to that. If anything made me more independent, it was the military. And I was like, wait a minute, now I'm going back to being dependent like that? No. No. I didn't want any parts of it, man. My goal was to hurry up and try to find my way out of that. Everything that I could anyway. And I do so well on my own, man. It's crazy how far I've come. And I try not to think about it too much, but I do reflect every now and then just to see how far I've come.
Yeah. Man, you've come so far. And I want to spend time on that because I think that's where this all, like, you know, you've had this whole story and and that's what it's all about. It's the story of overcoming the challenge, the resilience, and showing people what's possible. You know, but they say that, you know, we've all heard it said that dawn only comes after the darkness. And, this thing happened. And then I know that there was a period of darkness that happened for you.
Yeah.
But we also know that you came out of that stronger than ever. Mm-hmm. And so I wonder if we just could take a minute just to touch on that darkness and how you came through it.
Ooh, yeah. So the darkness really came more so when I got home. Why did it come when I got home versus at the hospital? I'll tell you. I got plenty, and I say plenty, of visitors at the hospital. People were coming left and right. Like, there was not one day that somebody didn't stop by that hospital to see me, man. I love that, by the way. Trust me. That was, if I could give a huge shout out and a hint to anybody that's going through something or knows somebody who's going through something, if you know somebody that's in a hospital, some kind of facility, some kind of nursing care, whatever it is, that they're not home, or even if they are home getting that kind of care, go see them. You're going to make their day, I promise you. Mm-hmm. I don't care what you think about them. Oh, they probably don't want me to see them like that. No, we don't care. We want to see people because we're isolated.
Yeah.
And we need that. And so when I got home, that's when it started fading away. Yeah. People stopped coming. My girl that I was seeing, she ghosted me, completely ghosted. Stop coming to see me. Stop calling. I'm texting. Somebody responds, and they're like, "Who are you looking for?" And I'm like, "What? That's an interesting way to respond to me. What do you mean? I'm looking for my girlfriend."
Yeah.
Only to find out that wasn't her number anymore. Wait, what? I'm sorry. And I apologize. I said, I'm sorry. I was just looking for, so and so. I hope I didn't inconvenience you. And dude, I've never wished that on anybody. I hope it never happens to anybody. And that is just the lowest you can get to me. You just can't say that this is not going to work for me. Like, you can't even say that. Ghosting means you gave no heads up. You just disappear. So yeah, man, those days started getting dark. It seems like I'm watching it because my brain is creating the imagery that is being said on the screen. But then I wake up and I'm like, oh shoot, this is real. Moments like that hurt. Literally, physically, seriously, they hurt. And that was where all that depression, suicidal thoughts, man, all that stuff just started coming in, man, left and right. And I'm like, I eventually, after having my uncle come by and talk to me, I had a moment where I just said, this is not me. This is not me. I don't do this kind of thinking. I don't care who did what to me. I don't think like this. And I'm glad I was able to fight through that because it was hard.
How did you do it?
I could say I did it by myself, but I'd be lying to you. It was a collective effort. Like I said, my uncle, he helped me. He's a pastor. Then not only him being a pastor, but he was an uncle. He was truly an uncle, first and foremost, and understood that I had a moment. There's a chapter in my book called Embrace and Confront the Issue. I'm talking about him in that book. Okay. He's the one who told me about this or doing that. I needed to embrace and confront the issue. Don't have that denial, you're in denial moment, because that's what really hurts you. You're trying to run from something. All it's going to do is catch up to you. Trust me, it's going to outlast you. Your stamina won't be there forever. And so that with family, my faith, I started to lean more. Hey, I got to point to them again. Those things back there, listen to me. You can hit them and they don't hit back. They won't even call the police on you. You know what I mean? Hey, I love those things. And that's why I play them, because they have allowed me to relieve so much stress. Oh my gosh.
It's one thing that you said that I think is really cool. Like you said you were laying there and you just kind of, you told yourself, this is not who I am.
Yes.
And when you do that, you're acknowledging that you do know who you are and that you're not acting as that person. And so like, to me, it's like having this clarity about the person that you want to be and then being able to shift your behavior into that. That's pretty powerful.
Yeah, man. Listen, if you have a purpose, a why, an identity, that will set you up for success any day of the week, and not just at my business, in my family, or no, any day of the week, because we have stuff that we're faced with every single day. Mm-hmm. I gotta choose whether I want to get up out of bed at, like for example, today. I have a choice whether I want to get out of the bed at 8 o'clock to eat breakfast or 5 a.m. to start working on business before I eat breakfast. I started my day at 5 a.m. Whereas some people are like, oh Lord, I'm going back to sleep, hit the snooze, And it's all about what are you here for? What are you doing? What matters to you? I'm not saying that business is the only thing that makes me get out of bed. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that today, my priority was to get business done first. Some days, my priority is to get my butt out of this house because I got to catch a plane. You know what I mean? And so it's all about prioritizing, finding your purpose, your why, and then identifying with yourself.
Yeah. And I mean, so this sort of like, if we can fast forward a little bit, I mean, all of this amazing context that brings you to now the person that you are today, inspiring people as a speaker, as a motivator. And as it says on your website, this mission to empower the hearts and minds of those who felt like they've lost a part of themselves.
Yeah.
And that's powerful. Like, can you talk about that specifically, as it relates to kind of what you're doing now and the person that you've become?
Well, actually, and I tell this to people all the time, I speak from experience. Why? Because to me personally, that's the best lesson teacher.
Right.
If you've never been an in-flight refueling specialist, you can't tell me how to do it. I'm gonna tell you that right now. You cannot tell me how to do it. Yeah, but what I'm getting at is when I wrote that mission statement, man, I was talking about me, but I was also understanding that can relate to so many other people.
For sure.
So if I can talk about me and connect to you, holy crap. Like, I already know what you're going through now. I don't know. I might not know the exact specifics, but I'm already relating that you've lost something or feel like it. But I can tell you how I was able to get back. And it will help you find out how you can get back.
Man, Kijuan, you're awesome.
Thank you.
You're awesome. Can you talk about like your work today, how you work with people? Talk about what you're doing now, your keynote speeches. Like, how can people engage with you? How can people find out more?
Yeah, no, for sure. I do keynote speaking, mostly motivational, inspirational, and it's usually based off of overcoming adversity and resiliency. One of my main speaking topics is the will to overcome. And WILL is an acronym, WILL, and it stands for winning in life's lessons.
Nice.
And so that's one of my key topics. The resiliency is also coaching as well. I do coaching on the side too, and mentoring. So I wear so many hats, I don't even know which one to put on. I just put on all three. and I come to the meeting, okay? So whichever one I'm wearing, it doesn't matter. And you're gonna get the best of me. And so you guys can find me on my website at ameymotivation.com. That's AMEY motivation.com. You can go to the Book Me Now link and book me for a conference, a convention, an event, a gala. I'll even come to your bar mitzvah if you want me to. Nice. As long as you're paying, it's okay. I love to talk to not just, veterans, but I talk to corporations. I talk to teens. I talk to college students, football teams, any sports team. Look, trust me, I could talk to you, because I've done it. I'm actually now fighting back and doing adaptive sports. So I can definitely talk about sports all day long. Speaking of sports, I do powerlifting, right? And I just hit 2 days ago from this recording, I just did a personal best on deadlifts. And if anybody knows deadlifts, you know how freaking how monotonous it can be.
They're good. They're good for my hips. That's
yes.
For sure.
Yes. And a personal best since the accident, shall I say, 300.
That's amazing.
And I hit it 6 times, dude.
That's amazing.
6 times. You couldn't tell me crap. The video is coming soon because I did record it.
Awesome.
The video is coming soon. Okay. I'm going to post it with the actual, what I call Friday Fire posts.
I love it, man.
Yeah, man. That's where you guys can find me. Oh, and by the way, my book, you can find that on there on the website as well. But you can also find it on Amazon, Kindle, Audible, and Apple Books. So yeah, guys, I hope you guys can check out everything, and feel free to reach out to me.
And you talked about some videos that you wanted to talk about. Those are available on your website as well.
They're on the website. Those are actually 2 video submissions. Well, me playing the drums. I think I put 2 of them up there, and those are video submissions of me actually playing and submitting for the National Creative Arts Festival for the VA. I won first place with both of those videos, and that was I think that was 2 years ago. I won first place with those. I'm going to be doing that again, and I'm excited because I gotta find me some more drum videos to play. So fun. So yeah.
Hey, so there's a question that I want to kind of wrap up with to sort of bring it back to some topics that we talk about often here on this podcast, because Inspire Campfire is about listening to the voice inside that calls us to adventure, and then being willing to listen to that call and go and step into your adventure. And what I've kind of learned over the 4 years I've been doing this is sometimes we seek out these challenges and these adventures and these opportunities to step into difficult situation, get out of our comfort zone, to stretch ourselves, right? And it's like a conscious choice. And I know you've done a lot of that, like just by joining the United States Air Force. I mean, that's a great example of like listening to that call. Then there's other times in life when we're not given that choice. It's not intentional. We're just put into a situation that stretches us. And you've experienced both of those. So I just wonder, you're somebody that offers that kind of unique perspective where you can kind of talk to both, like putting yourself in that situation to stretch and grow versus being put into that situation by life. And I just wonder if you could kind of talk about the differences there and if there are any differences.
The difference, one word, preparation. Why do I say that? If you're getting ready to take on a challenge, you prepare for it. Like for football example, when I got ready to prepare for the next team we were playing against, we would watch film on them. That's preparing. Now, when I had this accident, there was no way I had any clue this was going to happen. And I darn sure didn't know what all was going to happen to me. That's the difference, is preparation, having to prepare for this. Now, how you face the differences or the challenges could be similar, which is what I did. My approach was I always face everything wholeheartedly. I don't half-step anything. So whether it's me preparing for a football game that we got coming up, I'm going in wholeheartedly. I'm going to make sure I lift that week. I'm going to make sure I get my stamina built up while running. I'm going to make sure I watch my film. And I'm going to make sure I eat good the day of the game. And then when it came to, my accident, I'm going to make sure I do my PT sessions wholeheartedly, my occupational therapy sessions wholeheartedly, my orientational mobility wholeheartedly. Like everything that I was doing, I wanted to make sure I was putting my whole foot in, not just half. I'm kicking in the door. Okay. And so that's the difference in how I would view it.
I mean, I love the conviction you knew right away, like preparation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes we don't get a chance to prepare for our adventure.
Exactly.
Man, thank you so much. Listen, you have lived such an epic life, and I know there's so much more to come, but the story is incredible. And, I know that at some point Hollywood's going to pick up on this story.
I hope so.
And when they do, Kijuan, they're going to make a movie about you. And I want to know, when they do, who's going to be the Hollywood actor that's going to play you in your movie?
I thought about this, and I was thinking, maybe Will Smith, because he's my favorite actor, one of them anyway. And I was but I'm so musically inclined. It's got to be somebody who's gifted in music. And I love to be a comedian. So it's got to be somebody who's funny. And they could be able to switch it up, be serious, and then be funny. Okay, I'm going to go with Jamie Foxx.
Nice. I love it, man. That's awesome.
My guy. I love Jamie Foxx. He's amazing, man.
Love it. Jamie Foxx. Yeah, he's great. What's your movie going to be called?
Oh, boy. My movie is going to be called The Excuse Destroyer.
Ooh, wow. The Excuse Destroyer, starring Jamie Foxx. I mean, that sounds like an Oscar winner. I'm excited about that movie.
Hey, Jamie, call me, man. We can write this thing.
Let's go. Let's go. Man, I love your energy so much. You have such an inspiring story. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today and sharing this with me. I feel like it was such a gift. For those that are listening, I hope you've been inspired today as much as I have. I hope Kijuan's story has encouraged you to listen to the voice inside that calls you to adventure, because we want to hear your story next. If you have a story to tell or just need a nudge to create one, please send me an email. We'd also appreciate it if you'd help us spread the word by leaving a review and sharing or tagging Inspire Campfire in your social media. And until next time, I want to encourage you to get outside. Thanks for listening. Kijuan, thank you so much for spending some time with me today.
Absolutely, Scott.